Here we are back at it again talking about the Vancouver Canucks, their third overall pick, and the potential that they use said third overall pick on Caleb Malhotra. In this video commentary, I wanted to dive into an idea that was posted about and talked about on Twitter that could potentially shake up the entire scope of how we view the top of the NHL draft as we know it, and the prospects that are supposed to go 1, 2, 3, etc. I'd say, despite the fact that Caleb Malhotra has a consolidated ranking of 12th overall on Elite Prospects, I'd say that there is a group of 4, 5 guys even, that we all think are gonna go in the top 4 or 5. That group includes Gavin McKenna, it includes Ivar Stenberg, it includes that Caleb Malhotra, whom, as we had spoke about, apparently, according to Cam Robinson, some folks have this guy ranked number 1. And I'm not talking about some random old folks on the internet, some NHL teams, at least one, has Malhotra as their first overall guy. But I digress. It's McKenna, it's Stenberg, it's Malhotra, and then I would also throw in Chase Reed in there too. Maybe if you wanted to throw in another, it's either a Keaton Verhoff, a Vigo Bjork, or a Carson Karels. A lot of these guys could rise up on the list as well. But for Caleb Malhotra in particular, there's an element to the conversation of this guy and his draft stock that questions whether or not he really is a high-end center to be at the NHL level. Make no mistake, he's been doing really well. The explosion of offense from last year to this year is a sight to behold, and by all accounts, intangibles-wise, leadership-wise, it's hard to beat Caleb Malhotra. With that said, let's dive into Thomas Drance and what he posted about on Malhotra, and then also talk about an idea as to whether or not the Canucks are debating the Chicago Blackhawks with all this talk of their interest in Malhotra. Starting out with the Drance tweet here. He posted this yesterday at night. Caleb Malhotra dominated the playoffs, but he has never before been a dominant scorer, and his production profile is at the low end of the spectrum for top 10 picks out of the OHL. Here's an article on parsing small sample performance, plus the case for selecting Malhotra third. You can see from this list over here that Thomas Drance went out there and posted Caleb Malhotra is a guy who falls right in line with Sean Monahan of 2013, Cody Hodgson of 2008, Mark Scheifele of 2011, and Brady Martin of 2025. This is the production rate of OHL guys out of the top 10. And lo and behold, there are some pretty talented names at the very top. Stamkos, 1.7. Tyler Seguin, 1.6. Sam Bennett, 1.5. We have Caleb Malhotra here at 1.25. Just above Hodgson, Barrett Hayton, Pavel Zacha, and heck, even Bo Horvat is listed here at the bottom. So it's not necessarily like Caleb Malhotra has put himself in the best of the best competition. Tyler Seguin, say what you want about him and the way his career has gone. This guy was seen as like number 1 first-line center material for so long when he was young. And heck, he was close to winning an Art Ross at some point too. Him and Jamie Benn tearing it up with Dallas. But Drance then gets into a conversation as to whether or not the point production is really that big of a deal here. Nikhil responds, I'd imagine Malhotra is one of the youngest players on this list. He also had to earn opportunities in the lineup, as he has ascended as a player. Scoring at a 1.7 point per game rate in the playoffs at 17, and outscoring and outplaying O'Brien in his draft +1 and the playoffs is pretty good. Drance said they are all 17. Only 17-year-olds are included on this list. His birthday is definitely late, even within that cohort, but these are all players born after January 1st in their draft year. To be fair, players like Stamkos played close to half a season in 18, while Malhotra was 17 for the entire year. Absolutely, but a 3-month gap in birth date should not be sufficient to bucket them separately, and also doesn't explain the difference between the quality of prospect Stamkos was and Caleb is. You have Chris, East Van 808, going out there and saying this. One thing I haven't heard anything about is Ivar Stenberg's character. If Caleb Malhotra has elite character, I can see why Vancouver is so interested. They haven't put nearly enough stock into character in the past. But Stenberg plays in a pro league. I imagine it's hard to let his character shine when he is an 18-year-old playing with men. It's not like he was the leader of the team off the ice, but we can't hold that against him. But I haven't heard a single word about his character. Is he quiet? Is he socially awkward? Or is he outgoing and effortlessly one of the boys? It's an important factor to consider, in my opinion. Drance then replies, Stenberg and Bjork are both widely viewed in the industry as high character, guys who house stand-up leadership traits. So that's not necessarily to discredit the Caleb Malhotra leadership angle, but it's also to project Ivar Stenberg and his talent profile combined with his leadership profile. Seems like scouts around the NHL view Stenberg as a top-of-the-line dude as well. But in regards to Ivar Stenberg, let's go back over to what Chris East Van 808 went out there and said, because it has been noted by many insiders that Vancouver probably is going to take Caleb Malhotra at number 3. That's been the notion that we've been hearing. Cam Robinson, Rick Dhaliwal, Elliot Friedman. It does feel like, based off all the hearsay, Malhotra at 3 is going to happen. And heck, if Cam Robinson's projection that Caleb Malhotra is ranked as highly as number 1 by some NHL teams is true, who's to say a team's not going to trade up with San Jose, send the Sharks a defenseman, and take Caleb Malhotra at number 2? Who really knows? But in the scenario that Gavin McKenna goes 1 to Toronto and Chase Reed goes 2 to San Jose because they need a defenseman, and Vancouver has to choose between Malhotra or Stenberg, I wanted to dive into this idea here. Chris East Van 808 has a theory. The Canucks are spreading this Malhotra to Vancouver rumor like wildfire to dissuade Chicago from trading up to draft Stenberg at 2. This is just a theory. A game theory. It doesn't say anything about what's actually happening, but I do like this theory. Oh, Vancouver is so into Malhotra. They've got his dad. They want to get the son. Who knows if that's going to be problematic in the long run, having a father-son coach-player duo. But that doesn't matter. The Vancouver Canucks are really interested in Malhotra. It's been Malhotra, Malhotra, Malhotra the past few weeks. What if they're just saying that so that Chicago doesn't trade up to 2 to draft Stenberg? So that Chicago stays at number 4 thinking, oh, well, we want Stenberg. Let's just let him fall into our laps. Because McKenna's going to go 1. San Jose needs a D-man. Vancouver's going to take Malhotra, which leaves Stenberg available for us. How's that for you? Only for the Vancouver Canucks to potentially pass on Malhotra and take Stenberg instead at number 3. At this point, it would be so shocking to me if Caleb Malhotra was available and the Vancouver Canucks did not take him and they ended up taking a Stenberg or whomever else instead. It would seem so contradictory to all the rumor mongering that we have been seeing over the past few weeks. But at the same time, it would be one of the more intelligent moves the Canucks have pulled off over the last decade. I hope you're right, Chris. Another reply says that Mike Greer is taking Stenberg. I don't know about that. We will see. Are the San Jose Sharks actually interested in taking on Ivar Stenberg at number 2, despite the fact that they have so many top-tier forwards already? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Imagine if the Vancouver Canucks, after all this talk on Caleb Malhotra, ended up passing on the guy. The funny part is, if they name Manny Malhotra the head coach sometime before the draft, they would have legitimate reason to pass on Caleb at number 3 as well. Would they not? Like, you could have all this talk about Vancouver liking Malhotra, but then again, it's like, oh, well, you know who liked Malhotra? The old regime. It was Alvin and Rutherford. Now the Sedins are here. Who knows if they actually like Malhotra as much? Who knows if Daniel Sedin's scouting Ivar Stenberg in Switzerland actually worked out? And you also have the fact that Manny Malhotra and Caleb Malhotra might introduce a weird dynamic in the locker room if their father and son duo were to be put into the same organization. Maybe that's an element to it. Who really knows? But for now, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of Vancouver potentially debating Chicago by spreading this rumor in order to take an Ivar Stenberg at number 3? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's plausible? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.